Ladies and gentlemen, politics is a very interesting game. And personally, that's why I love politics. Because it's also very dirty. Yesterday, Justin Muturi recorded a statement with the DCI. And after recording that statement, Justin Muturi issued another explosive statement. And in that explosive statement, Justin Muturi dragged the names of William Ruto and Ruto Haji. And in that statement, Justin Muturi dragged the name of William Ruto and Nordin Haji. In this video, I want us to do a critical analysis of that statement verbatim. Let me just begin by taking you to the last paragraphs, the last 2 or 3 paragraphs. Standing outside the pavilion, this is Muturi. Standing outside the pavilion, I heard the president ask Nordin Haji if he was holding my son. Nordin confirmed that indeed he was holding my son, and the president instructed him to release Leslie immediately. Nordin responded that Leslie would be released within an hour. After thanking the president, I drove out of State House and rejoined my friends in Gigiri and explained what had happened. Slightly over 1 hour later, Leslie called me to say he had been released and was at home. I then went home to see him. This is the true and accurate reflection of what transpired. That is a statement by Justin Muturi, who sits in the cabinet. By that time, he was the Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya. Now let us begin the video by going through this particular statement, because this statement, in my view, is actually God sent to Kenyans. I'm not so sure whether we'll be able to see abductions again. Kenyans must thank Justin Muturi for the bold move, and I'm 100% sure that Justin Muturi is going to resign, or William Ruto is going to fire him. But nobody will attempt to drag him through parliament to try and censure him, because that's going to be very bad for William Ruto. Before we get into all those details, for those who are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. What we do in this channel is that we analyze politics in a way you can't find any other place. So the best thing you can do is to subscribe. Ladies and gentlemen, let us begin this statement. I want to go through it verbatim, page by page. So the title of this statement is Statement by Justin Bidan Joka Muturi. It's beginning. He's giving his address, their ID, and other details. States as follows. I am the current Cabinet Secretary for Public Service. On 22nd of June 2024, at 21:29, I was meeting some friends in Gigiri when I received a call from Wairimu, the wife of my son, Leslie Muturi. She told me that she had been informed by Honorable Mark Mwenje that Leslie had been abducted a few minutes ago by armed, hooded gangster. She said they had just passed the roundabout of Dennis Pratt Road and turned onto Olengorune Avenue when the incident occurred. She stated that Leslie had been with Honorable Mark Mwenje and Marango Imanyara at Alfariji having drinks, and they decided to go to a birthday party in Lavington. It was during this process that Leslie was waylaid and kidnapped. The kidnappers forced him into a vehicle and drove off, and she was unable to reach him on his phone. Now, what Muturi has done there is that he's trying to narrate what happened. Of course, Mark Mwenje explained to us what transpired on that particular day. The statement proceeds here. I tried calling Leslie's phone, but it was switched off. At the time, I was with my friend Paul Mutaka. After discussing the matter with him, I called IG of Police Japheth Kome, explained the situation, and he promised to circulate the information amongst various police stations and call me back. Soon afterward, Mark Mwenje called me from the scene and described what happened. He said the vehicle that abducted Leslie was a white box Prado and armed men brandishing AK-47 rifles and wearing hoods had blocked Leslie's car, opened the driver's door, and pulled him out while the car engine was still running. Munje noted that at the time he called me, Leslie's car engine was still running. Okay? Now listen to where this thing is getting interesting. I then called Raymond Omolo, the PS for Interior, and explained the abductions. He assured me that he would take action. I also attempted to reach the Director Criminal Investigation, Mr. Mohammed Amin, but his phones went unanswered. I tried calling the National Intelligence Service Director General Nordin Haji, but he did not answer either. After about an hour, I called the IG again. He informed me that he had alerted all personnel on all routes, suspecting it might have been robbery. However, I told him that based on the information provided by Mwenje, the abductors appear to be security personnel rather than robbers. He seemed unconvinced, stating that there was no planned police operations that night. Now, let me tell you what Muturi is saying at that part. That after calling the IG, he called Raymond Omolo, who assured to help. Then he went further and called the Director of Criminal Investigation, Amin. Amin did not pick his call. He then went further and called Nordin Haji. Nordin Haji also did not pick his call. We are talking of Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya calling. So at this point alone, you can guess that the two gentlemen knew about this particular operation, but the IG did not know. Raymond Omolo did not know. It proceeds here. Several friends joined me at the scene, and we continued making calls to various officers and individuals who might help in locating my son. I called Raymond Omolo a second time, and he confirmed that he had contacted several agencies to assist in finding Leslie. However, he was still inclined to believe it was a carjacking. You see, even Ray Omolo, the principal secretary for Interior, did not know about this particular operation. Now, I want you to put yourself in this situation. We are talking of Attorney General whose son has been abducted. The Attorney General calls the IG of police, he calls the director of CID, he calls the director of NIS, he calls the principal secretary. No help. So where there, an ordinary Kenyan, who do you call? You don't even have the number of the OCS in your village. Yeah, so assuming your son is abducted today and you don't have any other number, what can happen? You remember Denzel guy, the guy who was buried in Denzel Omondi, he was buried in Homa Bay sometimes back. He was abducted the same day also. Proceeds here. We learned that police from Kilimani had gone to Citizen TV to obtain CCTV footage, but the station was initially reluctant to release it. Honorable Ndungu Githinji, that's a former MP who had joined us, called Wachira Waruru, the CEO of Citizen TV, explained the situation and requested any information that might help identify the vehicle. Waruru later sent us the footage showing the events leading to the abductions. The footage showed Leslie driving out, followed by Mwenje. The footage also captured the box Prado and another vehicle resembling a Probox following Leslie's and Mwenje prior to the abductions. In this part, Muturi is actually questioning the motive of the police from the Kilimani station. Why were they going to Citizen to pick that clip? Because Citizen TV had, after this news emerged, they went there and they were able to get the CCTV footages. So the police from Kilimani were sent to go to Citizen TV to get that footage. Why was that happening? So proceeding here, at around 3 a.m., I decided to send a WhatsApp message to the president, informing him about my son's abduction. Around this time, someone gave me the contact number of Said Keitany Mohammed, the director of Anti-Terrorism Protection Unit, as we had identified the box Prado in the CCTV footage and learned that such vehicles were often used by ATPU. I called Mohammed, but he did not answer or respond to my text. He did not pick. Remember, by this time, Kenyans already knew that Justin Muturi's son had been abducted. So listen, it's very interesting. So he decided to send a message to William Ruto because that's the president. 3 a.m., your son is arrested. You've called everybody. Then you decide the best person now is to call the president. Since I could not reach Amin, I obtained the contact of his deputy, James Onyango, and called him. He said he would look into the matter, but was unaware of any police operation that night. We eventually returned to our homes at around 5 a.m. to freshen up. So after that, because they were in Gigiri somewhere, everyone left to go and freshen up so that they could continue with the search tomorrow. So even the deputy of Amin was not aware of this particular operation. Okay. While at home at around 8 a.m., James Onyango called and informed me that they had checked everywhere, but there was no reported case of that nature. He promised to intensify their search efforts. Shortly afterwards, Said Keitany Mohammed called back. After I explained the situation, he assured me that there was no ongoing operation and that ATPU was not involved. But now he called back. And he also told Muturi that they're not involved. Given the anxiety at home, where many relatives and friends had gathered, I informed them of the previous night's efforts and left to continue the search. We returned to Gigiri and met with friends who had also been searching various police stations. Between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m., a friend from Nice called, informing me that my son was being held by their people. I shared this information with my friends, and it was agreed that I should call Ruto Haji again. Despite multiple attempts, he did not answer. Of course, it normally happens that when you are arrested, the Nice guys will always give information, you know. People have friends, they'll give information that, okay, this is what has happened. It's now here. So they told him, you are searching for your son, he's safe. Is with our people. So the guy decides, let me call Nordin. Again, Nordin ignored because he was aware of the operation. He was in charge of it. Now, let us now proceed. Just before 1 p.m., I decided to call Professor Kithure Kindiki, the Cabinet Secretary for Interior. After explaining the entire situation, he expressed shock and assured me he would contact Ruto and Haji. 15 minutes later, Kindiki called back saying he had spoken with the DG of Nice, who denied holding Leslie. Despite my insistence, I had confirmed information from Nice officer. Professor Kindiki maintained the DG could not be lying. Now, the Attorney General calls the director of Nice, he's not picking. He's the one whose son has been abducted. But Kindiki calls him, then he picks, but he's denying, which means in this operation, even Kindiki, as the cabinet secretary, was not aware. So the statement proceeds here, very interestingly. We continued our inquiries and I checked my phone to see if the president had read my message. He had not. Shortly afterward, we saw the presidential helicopter heading towards State House. Knowing the president had been attending a church service in Nyandarua, I decided to drive to State House to see him in person. Upon arrival, I found the president had just finished lunch with a group of MPs, including Mwangi Kiunjuri and Honorable John Kawanjiko. I waited until they finished their discussion. When Mwangi Kiunjuri concluded his conversation with the president, I approached. After greeting, I informed the president about my message, and he explained that his phone had crashed due to overload of messages. I then narrated the ordeal, including my interactions with various senior government officials who had been unable to help. I expressed my belief that Nice was holding my son. Yeah? Kenya. Yeah, that's Kenya. The president joked, asking why anyone would want. The president joked, asking why anyone would want to arrest a young person over Gen Z's demonstration. He even mentioned that Kinjuri's son and the sons of other officials had been involved in similar demonstrations. He then called his technicians to check the status of his phone. Since it was still not functioning properly, I requested that he call Nordin Haji directly. Standing outside the pavilion, I heard the president ask Nordin Haji if he was holding my son. Nordin confirmed that indeed he was holding my son, and the president instructed him to release Leslie immediately. Nordin responded that Leslie would be released within an hour. After thanking the president, I drove out of State House and rejoined my friends in Gigiri and explained what had transpired. Slightly over 1 hour later, Leslie called me to say he had been released and was at home. I then went home to see him. This is the true and accurate recollection of what transpired. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in a banana republic. That is what I can say. Assuming Justin Muturi did not know the president, did not know the cabinet secretary, did not know anybody, do you think his son would be alive today? Your thoughts on that? Bye-bye.